long time.
Oh, come on, those beatings, those people are resisting arrest.
Okay, so video for the XENNS Mangird T2. This is a follow-up to the original Mangird T, which later changed its names to XENNS Mangird T, and now it's the XENNS Mangird T2, which is kind of a long name. They made a version 2 because the first one did well in sales. All companies do that, I'm pretty sure. Why wouldn't they? It's better than taking garbage and making a second version of garbage. So taking the T and making an improved version, or trying to, seems like a smart move to me. And I think it worked out, actually. You can read this at your own leisure. I think that this graph from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz fits within a band that's about 10 dB high. If you made a belt that went across here, it would fit within that 10 dB. And what does that mean? Simply that nothing is put up too much over anything else. The bass isn't elevated so much that it's going to degrade the quality of what exists in the mids, which is the fundamental portions of most things in my library. Vocals, drum kits, guitars, pianos. A lot of the fundamental pianos go through the whole scale, but the fundamental regions are usually right around here. If you have too much bass, you're going to impede the quality of that. That's a bassy set. Do you want a bassy set? I like bassy sets. When you do that, you're compromising. The more bass you get, the less of other things you're going to get, like resolution, ability to perceive things like timbre. So you got to make that compromise. With a tuning like this, you're not really making any compromises, because nothing is being, the treble, the gain region is not being stuffed in your face, so vocalists aren't going to sound like they're coming through and into your head. Guitar solo is the same. It's got extension that goes all the way off, so you're not going to have a sense of being locked or in your head type of experience. It's a very safe tuning done with good drivers, and I think that's a very smart move. So you can read this at your leisure when you want. I'm going to move on from this. Talking about music, let's start with the low frequency first. I think that Big Boy Killjill, I got my notes right here, by the way. What the hell is that up there? That's a accurate 1 to 16 kilohertz LED thing. For example, A, B, C. Oh, wait for it. See that? Sibilant. Sibilant. Boom. Okay, sorry. I'm just playing there. Tell me if that's too bright, because I can adjust and turn it down. Big Boy, the drop on this is actually really good. It sounds nice. Sounds more powerful than the original T, because that's what it's supposed to do in this mix. And then the vocals and then the forcing bass guitar come in later, and I think it sounds more enjoyable than the original with this track. Going to Black Sabbath, I'm listening to drums and a bassist that are going at the same time, so it's two instruments that are in the low frequency, about the same area of the frequency response graph at the same time, and they're both kind of doing solos, so masking, kind of canceling each other out. This is doing it pretty good. Not on the level of planars like the Timeless or the S12, but for dynamic driver, it's doing it pretty good. After that would be Sultans of Swing. Checking for the mid bass, and this is where this one really stepped out at me and sounded great, because the mid bass is below my target if you look at the squig lengths, but it's how it relates to the sub bass. The sub bass to the mid bass transition into the mids is just the way I like it. It's a glide. It's not putting anything over, and it's not obviously sacrificing or pinching the kick drum or forcing bass guitar. So I thought this sounded brilliant. And everything around it sounded brilliant, like Mark Knopfler. I'm actually pretending that the bassist is the main. It's actually Mark with his electric guitar, but I'm always listening to this for mid-bass, and I thought it sounded great overall. I really enjoyed the replay. The last thing that I checked, beyond all the stuff that I checked, but just for this video, was Fleetwood Mac Rumors. I was listening to the chain, the beginning, where it's like a kick drum, and then the vocals come in. This set shined right here. Stevie Nicks sounded brilliant, and this is going to come in later. I don't know why. I assumed and assigned the female vocals will do better with a little bit more gain. And that's not happening with this set because this set doesn't really have that much gain. And when I get into, so the bass guitar, the drops for hip hop or R&B bass sounds good. A 4-string bass guitar on Sultan to Swing sounds excellent. I listened to other things, of course, and it again and again it sounded very good. Listening to the mids, starting with Led Zeppelin, the second album, there's a track called What Is and What Should Never Be. Brown, 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 brown. And if you say to me tomorrow, that Robert Plant and the acoustic guitar. Take my hand, child, come with me. It's to a castle I will take you. And what's to be, they say, will be. Did I just bork that last line right there? That's a dope song, and it kind of has this way of exploding later on, and it's around the 250. Actually, Page's guitar, I wrote it down here, 250. Page's guitar sounds very, very good at around 350. And I started thinking to myself, what is a hybrid in this price range that beats this? Suggest below. I don't know one, actually. I can't think of one off the top of my head that's in this price range. So what would be in its price range that would be better than it? So people that don't have $1,000 and they're topping out at $350, what's a better rec? For me, the Dusk by the Moondrop Blessing doesn't fit, and it's a little bit polite for me, but that's because it's another person's preferred tuning, and a lot of people like that set, but for me it's the fit is a no-go. It's a little bit too polite. Another set in the price range. Comment, seriously, it's a zone that's kind of hard because it's not the budget and it's not the upper budget or the low kind of mid-fi or hi-fi, you know, $1,000, or you start getting in the tribrids at $600, the decent ones, $300, one dynamic and 6 BAs. What is something that's kind of like this? I can't think. So I thought this sounded excellent. Next thing would be Heart. Actually, before we continue with that, this is actually what I like to, when I hear something that sounds really good, you guys know I usually get on YouTube because I want to look at it and see, I just want to put the visual and the audio together. I'm not listening to a live version of this track, but I want to see it going on. I want to see Jimmy Page. I want to see John Paul Jones. I want to see John Bonham. I want to see where this is live at the Royal Albert Hall, 1970. I got some viewers on my channel that are older. Did anybody see this? Because somebody said that they saw a Zeppelin, I think in 77, one of my viewers. Does anybody old enough to have maybe seen this show? Go ahead and let me know. This song sounds very good on this set. All of it. The whole thing sounds great. So I'll stop there. The next one this is Heart. This is the Wilson sisters, I believe are their name, and she's going jamming on the acoustic guitar. They're about to look at each other. This is her, right? This is, which one is this? Annie Wilson, I think, with the black hair. She's about to take a look at her sister, and they just jam. There you go, smile, boom. Crazy on you. I thought female vocals sounded great on this set. I really liked Stevie Nicks on Fleetwood Mac, and then when I listened to Heart, I thought I was going to do Magic Man, and I scratched it out because I was listening Magic Man, and then I was writing down notes, and then there's another song. It's almost an interlude. It's not very long. And then the next song was Crazy on You, and I thought, holy shit, that sounds dope. So I had to switch this out. I think this sounds excellent. It sounds really good. So if you're a fan of Dreamboat Annie or that album, she sounds fantastic. She was quite a looker, wasn't she, way back in the day? I'm not shading her now, but she was, I think I loved her when I was a kid. I think I saw a poster of her when she was younger, and then a poster of her like at present day when I was young, and I saw her, and I was like, oh, wow. You know, people get older. They just jam. She's got such a voice on her. Okay, I'll stop with that. Let me close that down. The next one is going to be the Rolling Stones' Wild Horses, and they're timing this where they come up right now. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Look at it. That's like his symbol. I caught it right there just by chance. So listening to the Rolling Stones, let me get up to the Rolling Stones. This is J River Media. The most asked question I get on this channel is, what is that music player, bro? So if you watch this far, if you ask below, I won't even reply because you should be watching till now. That would be right here, this version. It sounds, vocals sound really good on this set. I like it a lot. If you like vocals, I don't know what kind of music you listen to, original soundtracks or something like that. I think this really, its strength is in vocals because nothing else is really getting over on the vocals. At no point, when you listen to bassy sets, there's going to be points where you feel like, well, there's the bass. I'm enjoying it. It's cool. But it's taking your focus away from a moment with the vocalist and maybe lyrics that you like. Your attention is shifted. And it's a fun set. That's why the Legend X was bought 4 times, but I don't have it anymore because that much money for fun, I can get it for much cheaper thanks to Chi-Fi. At good quality, so I'm not paying $2,000 for a V-shaped set. I'm not doing, not a V with 15 dB on both sides. So this does vocals good. Rolling Stones, Heart, Led Zeppelin did it good. The cymbal strikes on Led Zeppelin's Coda album on Hey Hey What Can I Do, which I use again and again because they're clear, they're crisp. I'm very familiar with them, and I've heard them in versions that are not ideal. Like they sound slightly muted because of the way the tuning is, or they sound like the tail is clipped off. It sounds kind of abrupt. Instead of a tss, it sounds like tss, if you know what I mean. It sounds like there's actually no harmonics to it. It's just the fundamental part, which is this track right here. Hey, what can I do? Cymbals sound good, drums sound good, bass guitar sounds good. Vocals are the standout of this set again and again, and female vocals in particular. Though Mark Knopfler sounded excellent, but I was impressed with how the basses sound so much that was what I was really listening to, and then thinking, this song's awesome. I love this song because it sounded great, but it's because the bassist was right where he's supposed to be. Not in the way, not too close to Mark, not smudging up and gooing up his guitar replay. I thought it sounded good. This is a music lover's set. I can't really speak on its technicals because I use instruments as technicals when I talk about the quality of a cymbal, the quality of drums, the quality of vocals, the harmonics of the vocals, if they're kind of fatiguing or getting in my way. If there was a point to this set that might be its weak point, despite the graph, let's look at that again, and you see it doesn't have a pronounced gain region, and the 5K is dropped, and 8K is not spiked, and it falls all the way off. However, vocals are energetic and lively. I would expect that's because of some spike here, but the graph doesn't reflect that. This is where my ears are hearing something different than what the graph reflects, because the vocals have more energy than this graph would imply. But I like it because it's like a live replay, and it's not distracting from the bass line because it's got proper emphasis, but not too much. So it's a very good set. I recommend it. I recommend that you wait for more reviews. I think it is my recommendation in this price range if you think I'm not going to spend more than $350, but I want what best I can get up to that point. This is something you should probably consider or keep your eye out on. It's a very good set, particularly people that liked the original T, if you did, or if you didn't like the original T because you thought it was a little anemic in bass, which I don't know how you would, but if you did, this might be a fix to that, because this does have a little more bass than the original one, but it doesn't. Again, the graph, if you made a belt of 10 dB, the whole graph would fit into that. People talk about balanced. To me, when I look at a graph and nothing is being pushed up enough for me to look at and say that might be shouty or that might be bassy, that is the definition of balanced to me, because it's not giving anything too much emphasis. I might want that on a bassy set, but I wouldn't pick this because it's not a bassy set. It's got some slight elevation in the low end. This isn't a vocal centric set via the tuning and to your eye, but when I listen to it, it definitely is. So this is the XENNS Mangird T2. It gets the rec. Pay attention to future videos. After this video will be a close-up look, and you can have everything. An explanation of the songs that I like that it played back well. So I'm trying to think. The negative. It's $350, so it's expensive for some people, and there's intensity to the vocals. It might be This area is sensitive to me, the gain region, and the harmonics are sensitive as well. So I guess that's probably why I like this, but it sounds energetic. I don't know. And I'll let you go. Does that look too bright? Because I can adjust the color. Or I can tone it down. I can do all kinds of stuff that... Sibilant. Bad guy, good audio review. There's no S in there. Okay, I'm out.
Come